of you are. A very warm welcome to all of you on Sentinels Newsmakers. And this Monday morning, I have three lovely, gorgeous ladies joining us. I have the team of Ficky Ladies Organization, the Northeast chapter, on the show today. This is Newsmakers, the special series wherein we speak to some of the key voices from the Northeast. And let me welcome this wonderful team on a Monday morning. I have the chairperson of Flow Northeast Chapter, Juhie Saboo. Also on the show today is Suruchi Agarwal. She is the Senior Vice Chairperson of Flow Northeast. And joining us on the live show today is Dr. Srutimala Duara. She is the immediate past chairperson of Flow Northeast Chapter. Welcome, ladies, to Newsmakers.
Thank you. Thank you, Oineetom.
So, like I said, it's wonderful to have all of you on the show today. So, let me first start by asking Juhie, since she is now the chairperson, about the plans of Ficky Ladies Organization going forward. Do we see Flow in a new avatar? Juhie.
When you ask me that, I would say that we are seeing life in a new avatar.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, Flow is, of course, positioned to be no different because everything that we've been doing in the past, it's been 13 years now that Flow has had its presence in the Northeast. And all that we've been doing in the past has been in a physical format. Whether it's members engagement, whether it's community outreach, whether it's our skilling programs, all of that has been so. And even back in March, we didn't know where we would be in the month of May, right? So I think we are all kind of tuning into playing it by the year. But one thing that we have taken up as a team in our stride, and I think we've flown in really well, is going the digital way. So we are a heterogeneous group of members with members from across age groups. So one huge opportunity it opens up for, I'm beginning with the members and then of course it goes to the community in the same way, is that everybody now kind of embraces the digital platform across things, whether it's a Zoom webinar as simple as that, whether it's an internet banking transaction, so it's kind of aiding people to go that way, because I don't think there's any shying away from it anymore. And there is a sense of it's a very subtle sense of empowerment that one feels when one is able to do something that one wasn't able to do. And then using the same digital platform, of course, for our community outreach also. Apart from COVID support, apart from support in any times that we need to extend to the community. So that's where we are right now.
Right. So I would like to bring in Suruchi here. Suruchi, your plans going forward, how do you look at giving a new look to the Ficky Ladies Organization? And also, if you would elaborate a little bit on the community outreach that Juhie has mentioned.
Yes, a very good morning, Oineetom, and to all of you here. Lovely being here this Monday morning.
Thank you.
Right, like Juhie rightly put it up, that yes, going the digital way is the new normal for all of us. And definitely community outreach as well has to be the digital way right now. So as Flow, for Flow as an organization, yes, it becomes very important that it has to be unstoppable, because member engagement for everything, be it any of our programs or community outreach, it becomes of utmost importance right now. And how we have to connect digitally to them is the biggest challenge, and we as a team are trying our best to overcome that.
Shrutimala, coming to you, what are your expectations? You are the immediate past chairperson. A lot has happened during your tenure. Now, with the new, young, vibrant team in place, what are your expectations?
Well, first of all, during this time, we are living under very extraordinary time. So it is not possible to what Flow Northeast have been doing so far. Like, we have these health programs. Uh, Even during my tenure, we went to the Harijan colony to give health aids to the children out there. And then we went to Hafiz Nagar for the underprivileged children. And all these, like, what we have been doing physically, this is not
Right.
possible right now.
Mhm.
So here,
Yes.
whatever like Flow can do, be it our chapter or nationally, it has to be online. So
Right.
it is like, you bring in speakers, resource persons who can talk to us about maybe good health, about entrepreneurship, a variety of topics. The problem is now it is a challenge, yes, because we cannot reach out to those people who actually we need to reach out to. For instance, the
Right.
grassroots level, right?
Mhm.
We cannot do things because Flow's aim is to reach out to the grassroots level
Yeah.
where the women needs to be empowered to give them learning like in new skills so that they can find employment. And then we
Yes.
also have the middle level where like women starting business to help them. And in the senior level, like we have those entrepreneur programs where to promote women to leaderships and to
Right.
get board positions. So these things which Flow has been doing now cannot be
Yes.
done. So now the new team has to find different ways to conduct webinars still like the lockdown is lifted. Even after lockdown is lifted, you don't know whether we could really reach out to the people that we are supposed to reach out to.
Well, that brings me to the question too. This is both to Juhi and Suruchi. Now, given the challenges that you people are faced with at this particular point of time, and of course, we don't know, and Srutimala has already mentioned that we don't know for how long we are going to have to, live with this online mode of communication. So you have members, and you are reaching out to women in far-flung areas as well. And of course, there might be net issues. There might be so many other issues. People might not have the required gadgets and equipments. So, what is the plan? Are you already do you already have a strategy and a plan in place, or are you now putting your heads together and working towards, overcoming some of the challenges like these?
So the point at which we took up the term Oineetom was the point where Shrutimala had concluded the drive, which was supported by all the flow members, to
Right.
extend support in
Mm-hmm.
kind and in money and in
Mm-hmm.
kind
Mm-hmm.
to people who are really marginalized right now in the light of unemployment or migrant workers scenario.
Yeah.
Having completed that, now of course, like you're talking of reaching out to people, especially when it comes to skilling them, when it
Right.
comes to holding programs for them, the
Mm-hmm.
idea, the thought that we have in mind is to get in touch with the panchayat or the local gram heads and
Right.
see if we can have a digital platform which is for the community, wherein we are not reaching out to individuals because that can be a messy route to take. And there, through that channel we bring in resources. So the plus here is that resource availability is has become so much more approachable. What was not possible earlier because of digital media being there, time and effort for even a resource person is much lesser to be coming in and joining hands with us to impart skills. So the plugin from the resource aspect is much simpler. What we have to do is get that feed going to the community, and for that, getting community based digital platforms is going to be the key. We already
Right.
have projects which Suruchi will tell you about, which have been underway over the last 2 years. And even supporting these and skilling them up would be through the means of digital platform. So
Right.
part of it is putting our heads together while Suruchi takes you through the details of the project, and part of it is planned. Now it's about executing it.
Right. Suruchi, over to you. Your thoughts.
Yes. So, as part of Flow Northeast, we have two ongoing skilling programs. One is the Hathiana Pottery Village, and one is the Ramdhenu Skilling Center, which is run along with an NGO, and where we have women being trained in stitching, They are doing a proper course in stitching. So these two are our skilling programs that are on. But I would say yes, the challenge is bigger because
Right.
both the projects,
Obviously.
like to go online,
Yes.
it is much easier than done. I would say it is much easier to
Mm-hmm.
say than done. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to find out proper means, and rather I would say that we have to go in a much planned manner. With Juhi and our team would be working
Mm-hmm.
towards this year, and
Yes.
probably by next quarter we should start something fruitful with them through
Right.
online mediums.
Okay. Now, here I would also like to hear from the three of you about, over the years, how have you seen women entrepreneurs evolve in Assam and whole of Northeast? I would like to start with Shrutimala. Like, how has this entire thing evolved over the years?
Well, you see, each of us, like our chairpersons, we have a term, but it is flow is flowing all the time. So, like, whatever has been started, we just continue. So, I would say that, first of all, as she had, said initially, like Suruchi had said, we have the Ramdhenu. That's a tailoring unit. All right, so that tailoring unit was taken up during Sarita Sikaria's time. And we what we have done is that women from very underprivileged families, they have come and they have taken up tailoring lessons, and finally they were given certificates by Usha, right? And
Okay.
now what they have done is that after that they have got into jobs, and that is the biggest satisfaction, because they would
Yes.
come with their success stories telling us, they have earned this much. Some, who was earning zero, nothing, and
Right.
suddenly, in a month she was earning, say, 10,000. So
Right.
that's a big amount for someone who had
Absolutely.
earned zero. So
Right.
this was one thing, and another was that the pottery, as Suruchi has mentioned, that pottery village, again, Sarita and I had gone to Hatyana uh, during her tenure, and we had seen that this particular village, the women were into pottery, traditional
Right.
pottery village, but they had dropped out. Why? Because they could not compete with the market, with the competition.
Right.
So what we did was, with new machines and training, they were now in batches getting trained, and they have come up with such beautiful products. And they're very
Mhm.
happy, because what they could manage in a week, now they could manage in a day. So,
Right.
these are the various, and yes, there's another thing which we had done was giving looms. We had given 4 looms to Hemaprabha Sutia. She is someone who had done great work on her looms, who had woven Bhagavad Gita, Gunamala, in her looms. So she was one of our awardees. We have this Flow Women Achievers Award of Excellence, and she was one of the awardees. And we gave her the loom to start training. Okay,
Okay.
so these are the things, and then we have a woman called Hemkanti Payeng. So she is basically she was growing a lot of mustards. So that is, we are
Right.
now trying to get her some tractors. Joshidas Verma, she is also past chair. She is also helping in this project. So these are the various projects which, from Flow Northeast. These are the few
Okay.
ones that I have mentioned. So what we have
Right.
been doing, and for the Northeast as a whole.
So these
You know
most of
something,
these programs. Yes.
Anitam, here
Yes.
I would want to tell you something, that all other chapters are
Mhm.
you have either Ludhiana chapter, Mumbai chapter, Indore chapter, but here we have a whole Northeast chapter.
Not this.
All the states are
Absolutely.
clubbed
Yes.
together here.
Right. 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 And therefore, your outreach would be much larger, and your
Much
programs would
larger.
be much more diverse. And of course, that many more challenges also reaching out to so many people
Yes.
across the states in
But
Northeast.
I think Juhi will be in a better position now, because she can include them digitally now. What we could not reach out to all the 7 or even 8 states, say Sikkim, now she would be able to reach out,
Absolutely.
because
I
physically
would
it was
also
not
like
possible
to.
for us to go to Sikkim and all those places.
Yes, Suruchi.
I would also like to add up here that, Flow Northeast totally works with its motive of women empowerment at the grassroots
Right.
level, but at the same time, taking care of the urban women and uplifting them,
Yes.
and time to time promoting the urban entrepreneurs, the young
Yes.
budding entrepreneurs who are in our member fraternity. We
Right.
are also looking at upgrading them and how we can help them through various learning events and seminars, and you know how Flow Northeast can
Yes.
upgrade their skills.
And most of the programs that you all have mentioned, I think they will continue and they continue,
Yes,
right? All of
yes,
them.
for
Yes.
sure. Yes, they're
Yes.
all long-term projects that we have
Long
taken up.
term. More,
Okay.
more
All
with the approach of going in depth and
right.
bringing an impact, and not really a wide approach. We go in
Right.
deeper vertically.
Okay. Okay. Now, Juhi would like to know from you as well as from Suruchi, but first to you regarding, there are many schemes from the government side also for to give a boost to women entrepreneurs, for women empowerment. So, what is your take over the years? What have you seen? Have they really been helpful, or you feel that some of these policies maybe needs a little bit of tweaking so that the access can be much better? What has been your observation?
So, over the last 4 to 5 years, various schemes have come in.
Right.
And in fact, banks have been set up only to boost women
Yes.
entrepreneurs and pave
Right.
the path for them.
Mm-hmm.
We've had seminars, and we've had banking representatives coming in and talking of the
Yeah.
schemes which have been brought in through that way route also.
Right.
But I think it is accessibility, or
Mm-hmm.
even after the accessibility, it is the tediousness of the entire process of beginning
Is
from
it
A and
documentation?
getting to Z. Yes,
All
yes.
right. Yeah.
Because at the grassroots level, and that is that is where actually a lot of these schemes are targeted at. But for
Right.
them to be able to make use of a scheme, they have
Yes.
to have all the documents in place, and that is a challenge.
Right. S- So, is there a plan from Flow side to make some kind of a representation, or flag these issues with the government?
So we have had, for example, a particular drive or a particular initiative called Swayam in the past,
All
which
right.
was about mentoring women and helping them to kind of at various stages where they get stuck. We step in
Yes.
as entrepreneurs, and we kind of help them build the linkages. So
Right.
that is something that was there in the past, and we may look at reviving it. But in the
Okay.
current moment,
Mm-hmm.
and in this current year, I'm not sure if that is going to be the priority or anything. I think we are looking at sustenance, and we are looking at really reviving people once the slowdown, once economic activity comes up again. It will be more about sustenance and revival before we can really bring in spirits to grow their wings.
Right, right, right. And the focus would also would be on when you say sustenance, it would also include the livelihood possibilities of most of
Yes,
these women folk, right? That would
absolutely.
top the agenda of team flow, the new team flow at this point of time.
Yes.
Suruchi, your thoughts on the different schemes and how women are accessing or not accessing. He has highlighted a few things. I'm
Yes.
sure you would have more to add to it.
Yes. So definitely at Flow, government interface remains one of the verticals where, through government interface, how we can help entrepreneurs, especially the women entrepreneurs, reach out to various government departments and schemes. I would actually mention here that in the plan for maybe this year or the year to come ahead, I think the Annapurna scheme and the Stree Shakti schemes can definitely be looked upon from the
Right.
Flow Northeast chapter, and how
Yes.
these easier schemes can be made more accessible to
Right.
women.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to also add up here that a lot of times the perception is there that the schemes are mainly for the rural women.
Right.
So, I feel that we should actually promote and educate people that, it is not only restricted to the rural entrepreneurs, and rather, people like us can also definitely take advantage. And yes, rightly said by Juhi, accessibility remains a problem, and the long procedure to reach out there is also an issue. But then, if we make our government interface strong from flow, maybe have a proper dedicated vertical or a help desk kind of a thing, like she mentioned, we used to have in Swayam. If that can be reactivated, uh, flow can act as a link between the government and the needy women entrepreneurs.
Right, right. I would like to hear from you all about any specific initiative being taken by Flow during the lockdown period. Any specific initiative taken by the Flow during the lockdown period? You know,
So
something, yeah,
we have amongst our members, we have a counselor psychologist. And
right,
one of the things that we did, apart from the drive that Shrutimala took up towards the close of her term, was to set up a cell wherein people who are facing issues with respect to mental or emotional distress
right,
can reach out. I mean, it has been reported with respect to domestic abuse, the rate having gone up. With respect to mental distress, of course, it's on the rise. So that is one thing that we have done, initiated by Shrutimala, wherein this number is there as a helpline for people to reach out to.
okay. Now, of course, time is really limited, and I would not want to let go of all the three of you ladies who are, in your own right, in your respective fields. You are all achievers. So I would like to start with Shrutimala on this particular thing. As an educationist, we have all, now there has been this huge shift towards online because we cannot not be online at this point of time. So, as an educationist, what do you think are the issues that most of the teaching faculty maybe are facing? And also, from a student point of view, any challenges, any bottlenecks? And I believe this is what is going to be the new normal, and we might have to stay on. Being online, educating our children online. So, what are your thoughts and observations?
Well, first of all, I would always give me a classroom and I love it. So,
Right,
I would like to be face to face with my students. I like to have my eye contact with my students so that I know whether they are actually understanding or just nodding their heads. We can know that. But, when you come to the Zoom classroom, we have been in the Zoom classroom. There are participants, a lot of students of our classes have joined, but
yes,
then yes, I deliver whatever I need to deliver, whatever they have asked me in the group, in the WhatsApp group. They ask me certain questions which I
yeah,
answer in the Zoom. And
right,
also, but the problem is what I cannot teach of them as I would in a classroom.
right,
I am delivering, no doubt I'm delivering what is to teach them. That's I'm doing. That's something I'm doing. But well, it can't be helped. So I can't complain because at least I can reach them digitally. That's the most important thing.
yes,
Moreover, we have internal assessments which actually they need to submit, and we used to correct and then send them back. But that is one thing I feel this is a good way, because in Google Classroom, I give them assignments. I know who have turned in and who have not turned in. I could correct and then grade and give them back, because now we will not be able to hold sessionals. We
yes,
cannot. So the marks that are given in these assignments, that will help a lot. But the problem is, I don't know whether this can be done in each and every corner of the country. Or let's talk about Assam.
right,
And we don't know
right,
whether there is internet facility or not. So if there
yes,
is no internet facility in the homes of the students, look at it from the students' point of view, it'll be a big
yes,
difficulty.
right. So, any feedback from the students that you have got on these online classes?
Online classes, well, they are joining in the online classes. They have been sending assignments, and I don't have any complaint from them because,
Okay.
like, their courses are being covered now, online at least. But I can talk only about Handy Girls College.
Right.
Right, but there are other colleges in various corners of the state, whether they have the internet, whether they
Yeah.
can do it or not, that is question.
Question. Right. Right. Suruchi, coming to you, you are a human resource management expert. You head the HR department at SM Group. And needless to say, we all are aware of what people are facing, what employees are facing at this point of time, job losses. So, what do you think, the companies, the firms need to do differently so that the job losses can be at a minimal?
Right. So, definitely here, I can firstly say that different organizations are facing different challenges during this pandemic, and we all are aware of it. And
Mhm.
some are shifting to work from home while others are not being able to.
Yeah,
So, we have to
right.
understand the challenges of the other side as well.
Mhm.
I'm
Yes,
talking about the employer side.
right.
But despite being in an unexpected situation, we all have to make sure that the business continuity plan remains in place. I
Hmm.
would say the most important shift for HR would now be to uh, plan the strategic move that how the business can keep going,
Mm.
and
Mm.
amidst that, how we can take care of employees' well-being as far as guiding them to work from home and
Right.
have a proper policy to work from home.
Mm.
Definitely keeping employees engaged who are working from home is
Yeah.
not very easy.
Right.
I can talk about from my personal experience as well, and a lot of articles that we read every day, and we know that a lot of companies are laying off and pay cuts are happening. But that I would say we should respect all decisions, whatever they're taking by the management. From HR front, yes, keeping employees motivated becomes the most important. And I would also like to mention here that the government also is
Mm.
taking measures. For example, if you have read the EPFO schemes, like
Yes.
for people who are salaried below 15,000, there are a
Yes.
lot of benefits that the government has announced recently for them.
Right.
So they are definitely taking measures for employees' benefits. And
Absolutely.
we as companies should definitely rebuild and reinvent our workplace, go
Mm-hmm.
digital.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the processes like hiring and trainings, which are very easy to be shifted online. Companies
Yes.
should think about that.
Right. While keeping in
So,
mind the employability of people as well.
yes, yes, yes. And
Juhie,
most importantly, I would say the mental well-being of the employees should be taken care of. The communication has to be very proper. Clear
right.
communication, transparent communication is the key right now for employees to feel secure about the job.
Right. Yes. 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 So, Juhi, coming to you, you are a restaurateur par excellence. We all know about that. Now we are also moving into the health and well-being space. So, tell us about all your plans and your experiences, and how has this lockdown period been for you and your business? And the larger thing about the restaurant business as well, because we all know what's happening in that space.
Right.
So it's a very, very tough space that the business space is in one word. I mean, we once again, when we began, there was more hope that all the employees had, the entire sector had, vis-a-vis where we are today, because there is no line of sight on how we are going to be operating. And even when we are operating, what kind of business there's going to be with the kind of yes, there are cities in India which have opened up zones which are clear and clean, and therefore can go ahead with operations, and restaurants have opened and gyms have opened. But even with that happening, will people venture out? Will we really be clocking bills? So that's the question that's there on the mind. So taking off on the same spin that Suruchi was talking of, it's about time to reinvent the entire business. Look at how we are going to operate, what space we are going to operate. In fact, the entire restaurant and F&B industry may be up for a huge change with respect to a marriage with the co-working space, for example. So because and keeping the social distancing norms in mind, there's
Right.
got to be profitability at the end of the day, and there's also got to be employability for the staff. So that entire spectrum is something that we are watching with bated breath and keeping the plans prepped right now. And
Right.
keeping in communication with our employees is actually the least and the only thing that I could say from a restaurant, and more so from a resto lounge perspective. For an eatery to be doing deliveries and surviving is fine, but for a resto lounge, which
Yeah.
typically is doing business in the evening hours, is a difficult space to be in. Especially Guwahati had seen a huge splurge in the
Right.
last 1 year in this
Right.
space.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
it is times that are not so easy, and we are going to have to reinvent the way we operate and what we operate in. And as
Right.
far as mental health and in fact health and wellness is concerned, you've heard all of us talk of mental health. It's it's not the women, it's not the men alone who are probably facing or will face mental health issues in the face of the economic slowdown. It's the women as well. We are all flung into a very, very different space. We were talking before we went live that we are probably working harder than we were earlier on.
Yes.
So, taking self care and creating that space and time is only going to be more and more imperative in the short and the long term, I think. If I were to add here that it's perhaps a time of pause that we have been gifted with, and we can only look at the silver lining of the times that we are in to be
Right.
able to tide through it. So if we pause and relook at what everything that we have been doing, be it our business, be it our life at home, be it our relationships, be it our lifestyle, and kind of turn a few things around, maybe a few things go back in time, and in a few
Yes.
things we integrate it with the digital way. So modernization and going back and integrating both of them is what I see as the way of life ahead.
Right. Both
And
you.
here, Anita, I just wanted to add something. I was thinking, when you were asking me about digital shift and all, I'm wondering what will happen once the education institutions open, because,
Right.
the threat is not gone even after it opens. So,
Right.
in a classroom, and it's so jam packed, like sitting close to one another,
Yes.
there's no
Yes.
distancing, and
Absolutely.
it'll be a
Yes.
big time problem. So now we have to do, because every single day we get a message from our principal, need assignments, give them assignments, give them, that is something, a big boost for us also teachers, because even early morning today I got a message, in the group, that have you given the assignments to the students from the principal. So if this is done in all the colleges, I'm sure, we can get along with this problem that we are in. But
Right.
otherwise, it'll be a big time problem once it's lifted and we are into the college and schools.
Shrutimala, actually, on that note, I would tell Oineetom that you should bring in parents and teachers and
Exactly.
explore this, because this is such a difficult gamut that's gotten opened for young parents or parents of young children.
Exactly.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Anyway,
We will
yeah.
definitely, yes, of course. Thank you for that suggestion. We will definitely have a session on this particular thing as well, because everybody must be finding it's really difficult, and I'm sure it seems like there's no respite for the students. The lockdown, too many assignments coming their way. Yeah, a lot of stuff there. So, coming back to both you ladies from the industry background, Suruchi and Juhi, are you people looking at, I mean, what's your understanding going forward? Do we see more layoffs happening? Suruchi, to you first, because you are also the human resources
Can you please
professional.
repeat the question?
Yes,
I'm not.
yeah, sure. Going forward, do you think, there's going to be more layoffs happening?
Oh, well, very, very difficult to comment on this. It's not a very pleasing word for me
Right.
as a human resource person,
Yes.
layoffs.
Yeah.
But yes, as I mentioned earlier, that we have to understand both sides of the coin.
Yes.
uh, when there would be no inflow at all for
Mm-hmm.
businesses like, for example, hospitality, tourism,
Mm.
you know,
Yes.
how would you go ahead?
Mm. Mm.
So, it's a very, very tricky situation that we are into right now.
Right.
Having said that layoffs should happen is not correct. And
Mm-hmm.
having said that layoff should be done or should not be
Yeah.
done, I would say that taking a side here becomes very difficult. It
Mm-hmm.
totally depends on the business inflow and how
Right.
the business would pick up even after the lockdown. It's
Yes.
quite clear that the first quarter of all the businesses would not show any results, be it
Right.
any
Right.
industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So.
we have to probably take it in the next quarter and how it turns up. We are
Yeah.
in such uncertain times that planning even for tomorrow is becoming difficult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Juhi, your take.
Layoffs is something that I'm hoping we don't have to do. And if while I'm hoping that we don't have to do, I was in a session with or I was actually getting to know about this session with the business coach, and we were discussing how today we, as business people, may have cash reserves that we may be plowing into to be taking care of our employee and our staff. But how long are these reserves going to last us? 6 months down the line, will we be able to do what we are doing today?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what should we be using the cash reserves for? So while compassion underlays everything that we would do, I could say that for my business for sure. But speaking of the industry, and it's very, very industry specific,
Right.
Yes.
Like you
it's
mentioned.
it
Yeah.
cannot be told yet. So the one thing that we can do perhaps right now is tell our people to train themselves and skill themselves up in a
Right.
way that even if in the face of a layoff, they are not rendered unemployed.
Right. Getting new skill sets and keeping
Yes,
oneself, employable,
yes,
increasing one's employability
Yes.
is the key at this point of time. Okay, before we wind up, all you three ladies are moms as well. Kids at home must be of different age groups, but kids are always kids. So share your experiences briefly, though, before we close the show.
good you added the briefly, because this can be a never ending day long conversation,
Right.
especially for moms like Suruchi and I who have younger kids.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, beautiful time for the kids to be having the kind of family FaceTime that they're having right now. For them, it's
Right.
a long, extended vacation. At the
Yeah.
same time, it's difficult times because they're getting used to the digital media, which was otherwise a no-no for them. So
Yes.
all of a sudden, classes are happening there. And for us moms, it's a very, very difficult time, I would say. We are loving the fact that they are around, but even as I had to find space in my house to be on this webinar where there would be no kids around. So yeah, it
Great.
is a difficult space. Yeah.
That sums up what you are going through at home. Suruchi, your experience.
I think I would firstly thank my kids on this platform
Mhm.
for not being a photo bomber today. So, but nonetheless, yes, it's a great time to be with them. And I
Right.
really don't know that how they would get back to the old normal after things become normal. Whether it's physically going to school or physically being social. For me, yes, the biggest advantage is that we are in a big family.
Yeah.
So I would say that they have learned a lot in terms of values and ethos of the family, socially being connected to a lot of them, which otherwise in their daily routine they were not able to.
Yes.
So definitely, for as of now, it's a boon, but I don't know for how long.
Hello. Yes. Yes.
Being with
Right.
two boys 24/7.
Yeah. I'm sure.
So
Quite a task at
yes,
hand. Plus your
yes.
professional
Yes, but I would also like to
Right.
mention that the education system, the schools, the way they have adopted the creative learning platform through the digital platform, opening access to a lot more other things than the books, is actually, I would say, increasing their IQ level a lot. I can totally see a huge difference in, my kids in the last 3 months when it comes to, current affairs and doing the studies in their experimental way, because of course they are not studying with notebooks and books. So, doing their own research. And while they're doing their own research, it is, all their empowerment that they feel.
Right.
So
Right.
I would say
Yeah.
it's really helping the kids from that angle.
Right. Lastly, your words. Yes.
All right. I have no small kids at home, unlike
Yes.
these two.
Right.
My son is in England, and my daughter, she is working here from home, and they are
Yeah.
busy in their own life. And to tell you the truth, I just don't know how these months have just flown. Because
Right.
initially I was busy with, sending materials for, we had sent from Flow to more about 1,000 families.
Yeah.
So making all those connections to send, and with our members helping in a big way, donating money like anything. I'm really grateful to our members who, donated, and we, I was there connecting how to send to the families, and then masks were being made by our
Right.
members. And apart from that, I also had my classes, the Google classes, and I had been giving assignments and checking assignments, sending back. And in English we have a lot of students in each class, about 70, major students, second semester, fourth semester, sixth semester. Apart from that, generic, RC, alternative English. So we have a whole lot of classes. So I was
Right.
busy in that. And then I was also busy in a book that, I've sent it to a publisher, my new collection of poems. So that's what I've been working. And
Yes.
then I'm also into writing now,
Yes.
picked up something that I had left,
Uh-huh.
children novel. That's also something I'm working. So I've been very busy actually. And yes,
Absolutely.
I would say turning my attention to some cooking, because cooking is not my
Yeah.
forte. But
Okay.
I had tried
Wonderful.
certain things, but
Wonderful.
that is immaterial. So these are
Right.
the things that
So,
I have been busy with.
yes. So
And yes, so
students
anytime I would
taking
like
care
to
of
say
education.
here
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
we had our award ceremony, the annual award
Oh,
ceremony of Flow digitally.
yeah.
We
All
had
right.
brought in
Wonderful.
Honoholi from Nagaland. We had brought in Poonam Tai from Hodia,
Yeah.
Rima Das from Mumbai,
Mm-hmm.
and Anindita Pidas from Duliajan. So that was a really wonderful thing. First, we had done that digitally, annual award. So that also took up a lot of time arranging that. Thanks to Juhi also for that.
Wonderful. It was wonderful speaking to all three ladies and viewers. Thank you so much for joining. This is it for now. See you again later. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Goodbye. Thank you once again
Thank
to
you.
all the three panelists. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
all of
having
you.
us.
Stay safe.
Pleasure.
Thank you
Thank
to
you.
Sentinel.